Hey everyone, and welcome back to Fairy Folktales. Today, we're diving into episode 3 of our thrilling series. Things are about to get intense, so make sure you're comfortable. Let's begin. Amara could feel the weight of his presence even before she dared to raise her head. It was him. King Adagan, the undisputed ruler of the Zara kingdom. This was the man who was feared more than death itself. As she slowly looked up, she met his gaze. He didn't blink. He didn't smile. There was no trace of emotion on his face. He simply stared at her, his eyes cold and calculating. Like a predator analyzing its newfound prey. "Come forward," he commanded, his voice a deep rumble. Like distant thunder echoing through the grand hall, Amara's legs felt like they had turned to jelly, as if they didn't belong to her anymore. She willed them to move, stepping forward slowly, one hesitant foot after another. Her heart was hammering against her ribs so loudly, so violently, that she was sure everyone in the hall could hear the frantic rhythm of her fear. She felt 100 pairs of eyes on her, but none were as heavy as the king's. When she finally reached the royal table, close enough to see the intricate carvings in the dark wood, the king's gaze began a slow, deliberate journey. It started at her face, lingered on her neck, and then trailed down the length of her body, leaving a trail of ice in its wake. Every inch of her felt exposed, scrutinized under his powerful stare. The air grew thick with tension. "Are you the new maid?" he asked, his voice still devoid of any warmth. "Yes, Your Majesty," Amara managed to say, her own voice a soft whisper. She bowed her head low, hoping to hide the terror she was sure was written all over her face. "What is your name?" he pressed. "Amara," she replied, her voice barely audible. Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence descended upon the hall. The only sound was the crackling of the torches on the walls. The king leaned back on his magnificent throne, his fingers drumming lightly on the armrest, his eyes never leaving her. Amara stood frozen, waiting for what felt like an eternity. Then, he spoke the words that sent a shockwave through every single person in the hall, freezing them in place. "I will test her tonight." A collective, quiet gasp escaped from the other maids standing by the wall. The royal guards exchanged uneasy, significant looks. Amara glanced up just in time to see Prince Dara, the king's son, re-entering the hall. A wicked, knowing smile spread across his face as he took in the scene. He seemed to relish the tension, to enjoy her fear. But Amara, she didn't understand. "Test me." What did he mean? Test me how? Her mind raced, filled with 1,000 terrifying possibilities. King Adagan rose from his throne. The sheer size of him was intimidating as he stood to his full height. He began to walk around her, slowly, deliberately, like a lion circling its captured prey before the final strike. The sound of his footsteps on the stone floor echoed in the silent hall. Each step seemed to seal her fate. "She will serve me personally," he announced to the room, his voice carrying an authority that no one would dare to question. "No one else will control her duties. She will stay in the East Wing, close to my halls." Madame Funk, the head of the maids, bowed immediately, her head touching the floor. "Yes, my king," she responded, her voice trembling slightly. "But," the king added, his voice turning as cold as steel, "if she disobeys me once, I will have her locked in the dungeon of silence." Amara swallowed hard, the lump in her throat feeling like a stone. Dungeon of silence. What did that even mean? The name itself sent a fresh wave of dread washing over her. The king's words hung in the air, a chilling promise of a fate worse than she could imagine. Then, King Adagan stopped his slow pacing. He was standing directly behind her now. She could feel the heat radiating from his body, his presence a suffocating weight. He leaned in close, so close that his breath was a warm puff against her ear, and he whispered. The words meant only for her. "In my palace, obedience is not requested. It is required." Violent shiver ran down her spine, a cold tremor of pure terror. His words were not just a statement. They were a brand, searing themselves into her mind, before she could even process the warning. He straightened up and gave the order that would change her fate completely, sealing it in front of the entire court. "Prepare her," he commanded, his voice booming through the hall once more. "Tonight, She comes to my chambers. And that's where we have to leave it for today. What test awaits Amara in the king's chambers? What is the Dungeon of Silence? We'll find out in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you're as captivated by this story as I am, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss what happens next. Drop a comment below with your predictions. Until next time, stay curious.